Hello and welcome to After the Whistle. We are back after a 2-week hiatus. Happy New Year, everybody. And the squad is back together.
Squad.
Yeah. We got to be the soon-to-be birthday girl tomorrow here. And we got Mr. I Need a Haircut.
Yeah, I'm kind of rough today, man.
Yeah. What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing?
I'm good.
Season just started up. We 5-1, baby.
5-1. Lynn English girls 5-1. There's a lot. We're gonna talk high school hoops at some point. We got a lot to talk about, obviously. As you can see, all three of us are sitting here, and all three of us are, we're on the playoff eliminated couch because
We all losers at this table right now.
Yep.
Basically.
yeah, pretty much our teams disappointed us. And first, we will start with the New England Patriots. Their Super Bowl defending title run came to an early end at the hands of the weirdest team in these playoffs, the Tennessee Titans. I've been calling them a weird team all season.
I mean, they do play well against the best teams, but our Pats just didn't show up. They must have been watching the game from home.
Right. And even before going into this game, the week before, going up against the Miami Dolphins, they struggled. And just to see that, we already knew this game was going to be tough to win.
Yeah, and the Dolphins game pretty much cost them a first-round bye. They could have had a nice little break, get healthy, get together, rejuvenated, and make a little run. But the defense let them down in that game. And in this game, it was a low-scoring game, but the defense let them down too at one point. And the offensive play selection, I was just like, what is going on here?
They were all over the place with everything, to be brutally honest with you, man. Like, I was surprised that the defense didn't do anything based on, Brady not having the best year he's had. You would think they would try to help him, but we knew this team wasn't going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Let's be honest here.
And speaking of Brady, what's next for him?
He posted on Instagram that he's still got something to prove. So that sounds like he's coming back. I don't know if
is he coming back with the Pats?
Yeah, that's the question.
There's been conversations happening that maybe Los Angeles, right? They could be
the Chargers.
Yeah.
They're a team that's built to win now, and it's just hard. It's hard for It's gonna be hard for a different team to pick up a soon-to-be 43-year-old.
And I think he might have forgot that when he first was starting, they built the system around him. He is no stellar athlete.
Right.
He had to go through the progressions of improving as well. So him just jumping on another team, it's going to take him some time to adjust to the playbook.
Yeah, it's going to be awkward. I think he'll come back for another year, maybe sign a 2-year deal, and just that second year be an option, and may try to redeem himself because of. Despite the lack of weapons, it wasn't the season that he expected from himself, just because everything that happened around this team.
I think he's only going to come back if the Patriots offer a good amount of money. The last contract was only $23 million.
Yeah.
Now other teams are looking at him, of course, to come to our team. It's Brady.
And there's been so many years he's taken a hometown discount. He's giving the team a hometown discount.
And two, maybe this might have been just a year that the team was just fatigued. You go to the Super Bowl 3 years in a row, like LeBron going to the finals 7-8 years in a row. You gotta be fatigued at some point.
Yeah, definitely. It's like they've been in the AFC Championship game for like 8 years in a row, and this was their first home playoff loss in about 10 years. So it was like one of those things. Like it was just it was just time. They needed to get out early. But you would think at one point early in the season they had Antonio Brown, Josh Gordon, and Julian Edelman were all those. We thought, if these guys stay healthy, stay on the right path, this could be a team that's going to win the Super Bowl. And then Antonio Brown goes off the rails. Josh Gordon, we know what happened with him, and Julian Edelman, he just started getting hurt towards the end of the season.
But I feel like this is what makes the Pats, because no player is bigger than the team.
Yeah.
So they'll take a loss rather than playing guys that really shouldn't really be part of the team anymore.
And with all that said, they still won 12 games.
Exactly.
Right. And the Patriots is already they're already looking at practice squads.
Yeah. So
Wide receiver Devin Ross is on there.
yeah. AJ Green's a free agent. There's some wide receivers that's going to be a free agency this year that they could pick up because they need weapons. And the running game was just horrid this year. Speaking of running game, Derrick Henry, 34 carries, 182 yards. He basically, that drive after the Titans stopped him on third and goal, right before the half, it was the Derrick Henry drive because he accounted for every single yard on that drive, and there was no answer for him.
I was talking to the VP today at work, and he was saying you can't call yourself a great defense if somebody just runs all over you.
Nope. Yeah, that's demoralizing. What Marshawn Lynch said, when you just keep hitting somebody over and over.
A broken record.
Yeah, it was bad. But hey, kudos to the Titans. They're just a weird team.
From them winning, it just proved themselves
now
against the Patriots.
Yeah. Now we'll talk about their next opponent. Let's see if they could, let's see if they could carry it on to the next game because some teams will beat a team, they get excited and they forget they got another game and they have to get ready for that. Speaking of moving on, the Houston Texans looked like they were about to get eliminated, being down 16-0 to the Buffalo Bills. And I was at the house watching and saying, this is the same old Houston Texans. This is Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, it was almost a repeat of last year.
Yeah.
Halftime, 13-0. Defense wasn't looking good. But Watson came out of nowhere, and he just...
Watson literally saved the coach's job. He literally saved Bill O'Brien's job. This is like the third or fourth time he's done that. And the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game, it was just like a coaching ineptitude. Like, what were they doing? What were any of them doing? I was like, what?
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. The Bills, they have to stop letting Allen throw the ball over 40 times, especially when you had 30 rushing attempts, 172, and you averaged 5.7 yards a carry. Just run the ball 45 times.
Literally. I've been telling people Josh Allen is trash. The dude is not a good thrower. He can't complete. He completed 59% of his passes this season. The dude has a hard time completing over 60% of his passes. Did you see this dude threw a jump ball on 2 defenders to the fullback?
Sure did.
It seemed as though he was trying to give the game away, doing his best to give the game away. Then Houston, they have the ball. They're in Buffalo territory. It's 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. They could either punt it and make the Bills go the length of the field to get a field goal to tie the game, but they go for it with the quarterback sneak, and it goes nowhere. It was like,
what is going on?
But you always said it too. The Texans and the Bills, they're big on coaching. Like, that's the issue with their team is coaching. So.
Yeah, like Bill O'Brien, like, hey, what? Some of those decisions was just questionable, and the game changed on a J.J. Watt sack. J.J. Watt had a big sack that changed the game, but yeah, Buffalo, they're probably looking in the mirror like we really let a good opportunity slip away because they were in complete control of this game.
Right, and when Watson did the 34-yard pass to set up that winning field goal, I mean, you look at that.
And your quarterbacks can't be your leader in passing and rushing for both teams. It's like the first time I've seen 3 quarterbacks leading their teams in both rushing and passing.
Yeah, I didn't even look at that nugget, but yeah, and also look at 7 sacks for Watson. I like Watson, but he holds on to the ball too long. There's too many times where he holds on to the ball where he should just throw it away. He's always trying to make a play, but sometimes you just got to throw it away. He takes too much sacks, and we've seen what happened with Cam Newton. And this guy is probably 30, 40 pounds lighter than Cam Newton. So he keeps this up, he won't make it he'll end up like Andrew Luck.
I feel like he'll start throwing the ball away once he gets like a low injury. And he'll be like, all right, now I actually got to take this seriously.
Yeah, and it doesn't, the coaching should just, do screen passes work, short passes work. Don't try to have him drop back, 5-step drop backs and look for a big play. Like, short and simple. Kind of works in the NFL. But
yeah.
But the Texans move on. They avoid getting eliminated and upset again in the postseason because there's been a trend over there. in Houston. So they'll travel to Kansas City. And as we look at the NFC side, I mean, you could talk about this. You could start off with this your team that we're about to talk about. Who that?
No,
Who that?
Literally, who that? This is my Saints. It is. They did not do well I don't know what happened. We even went in overtime, still couldn't get it. I was watching the screen. I couldn't even watch it. I'm
going to tell you what happened. Mook called it out. They pass happy. They too pass happy. New Orleans had 17 rush attempts, 5.7 yards a carry. That should have been at least 27 or 30. He called it.
And you know what's funny? I tweeted, before the game started, I tweeted, I would laugh hysterically if the Saints lose on a pass interference. And here we are. They lose on. Honestly, if I was a ref, I would not have called that because they were both fighting. They were both hand tussling. It wasn't like a blatant shot like that. It was like one of those stiff arm type. I wouldn't call that if I was a ref.
But you know how they say, though, one play doesn't affect the whole entire game.
No.
The Vikings ran the ball 40 times. You run the ball 17 times. You wouldn't even give yourself a chance to be productive on the floor.
Yeah, and Kirk Cousins didn't make the big mistakes at all. Kirk Cousins, after, what was it, week 2 or week 3 when we got on him, he had like a 10 or 11 week stretch where I think he threw 24 touchdowns and probably like 2 interceptions. And he was completing over 70% of his passes. And he just continued that in the postseason in that big pass to Adam Thielen to set up that game-winning touchdown. But that was a big-time play. That's what you get paid $83 million for.
Right. And Breeze didn't even touch the ball in overtime.
Well, speaking of Drew Brees, so this is 2 years in a row in the postseason. His last 2 playoff games where he's been horrid with the turnovers and some bad decisions. He had a fumble. It didn't cost him much, but they were driving. They had momentum. They had the Vikings on their heels, and he fumbles the ball. Minnesota recovers, and there was an interception there. So he has some crucial turnovers. And my thing with Drew Brees is, we've been criticizing Tom Brady all season long, and people saying, "Oh, if Brady makes people better," we always commend Brady for working with less or making people better. This guy had probably the best receiver in the game. He has a top 5 running back. He's got weapons all over the field, and they could only muster up 10 points in the first half.
And remind you, he's going to be 41 next week.
Yeah. So Drew Brees, I don't know, the Saints need to look at Teddy Bridgewater moving forward because Drew Brees right now, he's been under the
Exactly, and they have Teddy in-house, and then we look at the Patriots, there's nobody, which is kind of really scary because who's that next person? Who are they training? I have no clue.
If I was the Pats, I'd go for Teddy.
I would too.
I know he's already proven. But about that Thielen catch, that's just one of them catches like Mono, who's stronger?
Yeah.
Get in the weight room. And DBs need to stop being so small anyways.
Yeah, and Adam Thielen was having his way with the Saints defensive backs. There was nobody on that defense back that could cover him. They put Marshawn Lattimore on him. They put whoever they put on him, it didn't matter, especially when Stephon Diggs only has 2 catches because he was being double-teamed the whole game. And so Thielen really stepped up, and considering he missed so much time. But the Saints, they're going to have to look at this because it's highly disappointed because a lot of people had them going to the Super Bowl.
We thought this was it.
I mean, you had the number 1 receiver. He only 7 catches, 70 yards. You would think that's good, but it wasn't the catches. They weren't big plays like he was making all season. So the Vikings pretty much held him in check for the most part of the game, and they just didn't let the Saints get anything going. I mean, Taysom Hill pretty much saved them.
Yeah.
And before the game, tight end Kyle Rudolph even said, make sure when the game is over that the dome will be silent. You know how the dome gets loud.
Well, they were loud for a different reason. They started tossing stuff at the referees after the game. At this point, they got to just think the NFL is messing with them.
But the Vikings held the ball for over 9 more minutes than them, too, so it's like they were eating the clock up.
Yeah, and we got to give a lot of credits to Dalvin Cook because he made a lot of plays, especially in the ground game. There was that fumble that turned out to not be a fumble that got everybody's hopes up.
But what I loved about this game is that they agreed to have a pool report where the officials would talk to the media. So that kind of try to bring down the tension, especially for the Saints fans.
And my thing is, even if they reviewed that play, they weren't going to change it. I mean, this whole season, how often did they change any PI calls?
Not many.
When they reviewed it.
The ref in New York, I think he said something about it, like, we're not going to overturn many of these calls.
Yeah, so they've been consistent all year with not overchanging some of these PI calls. So you can't be mad at that. You got to be mad at yourself for putting up only 10 points in the first half. And they had opportunity. They got down to the goal line. They kicked some field goals instead of scoring touchdowns. That's my big thing. Score touchdowns. You won't be in this situation.
Red zone, 3 for 4 for the Vikings, 1 for 2 with New Orleans.
Patriots had that problem too in the red zone on Saturday.
Yeah, they did.
So bye Saints. Y'all go marching.
No, don't even.
Saints go marching on into the off season. Well, don't worry, we'll be there with you.
You did not just do that.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, the last game of Wild Card Weekend was the Eagles and the Seahawks, which had the potential to be a good game. And then Carson Wentz, I think he just has the worst luck in the world. He got concussed off a dirty play, and there it goes. Josh McCown came in, and that's all she wrote.
I was wishing he'd prove me wrong, but he couldn't finish the season out.
But that was just a dirty play.
End of the day, he injured, couldn't finish the season out, 3rd year in a row.
Hey, but that was an injury you just thought he's going to the ground, and the dude launches himself at him. No flag, no ejection, nothing. And we've seen quarterbacks and we've seen penalties for far less hits. And at this one, you look at the play, you just he literally just launched his head right into the back of his head. It's like, refs, what are y'all doing? Y'all, I've seen quarterbacks, you touch them, and there's a flag. And this one, it's like, isn't the NFL supposed to be protecting players' head? Is that one of the big things? And
You would think.
Yeah.
And they just let that go. It's like, what are y'all doing here?
I totally agree with you, bro. But
I don't
walked out and never returned.
I don't get it. But
And when the Eagles going into this, they had several contributors that were injured, bruised,
I think there was at least 4 or 5 Eagles that got injured in this game.
Right.
I don't know what in the world is in the water in Philadelphia, but literally I think they went into this game when Carson Wentz was healthy. Well, he was still in there. I think they only had 2 opening day starters on offense in that. Wentz and I think Zach Ertz. That's about it. How? So they're basically out there with a bunch of practice squad players and guys they just picked up a few weeks ago.
Going up against Russell. So.
And Russell was balling. He was 18 for 30, 325, 1 TD. But every pass was a first down.
Yeah. DK Metcalf, he ate up the Eagles secondary. And this was a microcosm of the Eagles season. There was just the secondary was horrible all season, and players dropped like flies with them. So, I mean, I don't know what they need to do in the offseason. Their biggest thing with them, they need to go to witch doctor or something, because there's no reason half your team should be injured. That doesn't even make sense.
Now, question, I know it was a not freak accident, but freak injury, but how do you go about handling Wentz?
Get a competent backup quarterback.
All right, so Teddy.
Shoot.
Everybody's looking at Teddy.
3 40-year-old quarterbacks played over the weekend.
How many even won?
None.
So
they had a chance to pick up Colin Kaepernick, but
that's a whole other situation.
Yeah.
Does Kaepernick even still want to play? But that's just
I think he wants to play.
I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't mind playing if you got rid of some of these old geezers at the quarterback position.
I mean, you brought in a guy who's coaching high school football.
Like, come on.
We'll get to that.
I ain't gonna lie, I felt bad for him though on that run, because I know he's seen like the goal line.
Oh, man.
I was rooting for him too,
Man.
and then Clowney came around, so I had to remind him, number 1 draft pick.
No. All right, let's preview some of these upcoming games in the divisional round. First, let's preview Tennessee and Baltimore. No, we're going to preview Minnesota and San Francisco. The last time they played was week 1 of last year. Minnesota came out and won that game. But San Francisco, this was the same San Francisco team. It was a new roster. They had a bunch of new guys, so they was figuring things out. And Minnesota won that game. So it's going to be strength on strength, because both teams play good defense. Both teams like to run the ball and use the play action for the big plays down the field. So how do you guys see this game unfolding?
It's going to be a close one.
I hope so.
I see the Vikings taking this one because I've been rocking with the Vikings all season.
Yeah.
And they've been proving us wrong with certain things. And I don't think the 49ers are ready to make that step yet.
I think I've been saying all season long is both these teams have the recipe. Run game, strong defense. Run game, strong defense. 49ers, they could get to the quarterback without blitzing anybody with their front four. Minnesota, they could get to the quarterback with their front four. So, and it's both of these quarterbacks, sometimes when you put pressure on them, they get a little anxious with the ball, and they'll throw one up for you.
The only thing I'll say about Cousins, he's been in a little more crucial situations compared to Garoppolo. He ain't been in the league that long. So Cousins winning this game in a crucial moment definitely should give him, I want to say, more confidence as a starting quarterback compared to Garoppolo, who's playing his first playoff game.
And the 49ers are supposed to host, so that could change
the home field advantage.
Yeah,
but
it could change some things. Also, D Ford is coming back.
yeah, they got some guys coming back too. D4, yeah, they got guys coming back. And this is literally strength on strength. So it's like two teams that mirror each other, strong defense, and they don't ask their quarterback to do anything crazy, but they both got quarterbacks that can make plays down the field. So I think I'll go. I've been saying San Fran all season, so I got to stick with them. Even though I've been giving Kirk Cousins his credit, all the trash I've talked about.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with the 49ers just to see. I mean, just looking at their progress this whole season, even though the Vikings and the Patriots.
Yeah. And they're healthy. 49ers are healthy.
My only thing with the 49ers, they kind of like fell into the playoffs. They didn't steamroll coming into it.
Hey, that could be a good thing though.
It could be,
but
could not be.
But yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is like one of those 17, 14, 20, 23 type games, low scoring. Another one, Seattle going to Green Bay. This will be, I believe, the second time these two teams play in the playoffs. The last time they played in the playoffs was the 2014 NFC Championship game. The Packers forced 6 turnovers and were up 19-7 in that game and somehow blew that game and lost to it. But this is another one. Seattle only has one loss on the road this season. They travel well, and the back end of the Packers defense, they are susceptible to big plays. So they're going to have a little issue covering DK Metcalf.
Wilson's been balling, man. He's been, like, I want to say the second contender for the MVP behind Jackson. So I'm going with the Seahawks, man.
Seahawks. They won 10 of their games. This is the 4th time that the teams have met in the postseason since 2004. Seahawks.
Yeah. I'm probably going to go with the Seahawks because before the season I said Green Bay probably ain't even going to win a playoff game just because the way they're built. And there's a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers because since that Super Bowl, he hasn't – he's gotten to 2 NFC Championship games, but he hasn't sniffed another Super Bowl appearance yet. So, I mean, if he wanna do something about that, because we give a lot of quarterback passes and say they're great, and we've only seen them in the big game once. And
they hold him to one of the higher standards when they talk about Aaron Rodgers. Like they say, he's the most skilled quarterback in the game. So show us.
Yeah, literally. Everyone talks about how he's the greatest thrower of the football, but I mean, well, how are you the greatest thrower of the football? You can't even throw your team back in the Super Bowl. Make it make sense, y'all. Make it make sense. So and the last time they lost a home playoff game was against the Giants. No, it was against Kaepernick and the 49ers.
Yep.
I think that was I think that was 2013 or so. So they've lost some home playoff games under Aaron Rodgers. So there's a lot of pressure on him. I mean, a lot of people ain't saying it, but I've been saying it for the past 3 years. So come on, Rodgers, show me, show me. All right.
Show me the money.
Tennessee and Baltimore. This used to be a rivalry in the early 2000s with Eddie George, Steve McNair, Ray Lewis, Shannon Sharp, and them boys. These two teams used to have a little rivalry because they was in the same division at one point. And it's gonna be the Derrick Henry show versus the Lamar Jackson show.
I'm rocking with Lamar, man. He's something we've never seen.
Yeah. And the Ravens defense too. They've been a strong defense all season. So I think if you neutralize Derrick Henry, granted Tennessee they have a good receiver in A.J. Brown, but Marcus Peters too. He recently just got a contract extension with the Ravens, and you can line him up over on him. Make Ryan Tannehill beat you.
Yeah, because Henry, though, you have to stop him. You have to stop him because he runs over everybody. So if you can handle him, then Tannehill's going to have a hard time beating you.
Yeah. And it showed that the Ravens, they could play man-to-man, so they could put they could put 9 guys in the box. Granted, you probably need 10 guys in the box for this guy because the 260-pound running backs don't come around often like that. He's bigger than some linebackers in the end. So
it's like Brian Urlacher.
And does this change anything when the Tennessee won 8 of their last games out of the 11?
Oh, to sneak into the playoff. They do have that momentum going, Tennessee, right now. They got that momentum going. But, yeah, once again, Tennessee is just a weird team. Every time I've watched them, I've seen them beat the Chiefs. I've seen them beat the good teams, and then I've seen them lay the biggest eggs against the worst teams. So which Tennessee team is going to show up? I don't know. I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Flip a coin.
Yeah, but we'll see. But you guys both have the Ravens.
I'm in the middle.
Come on, go ahead. Go ahead. Put your money there.
You can put your money there.
I ain't got no money.
Yeah, okay.
All right, I'm picking Baltimore just because I'm rooting for all the black quarterbacks. So.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson is nothing we've ever seen. He's past Vic. So, yeah.
All right, Ravens.
Yeah, we forced into the Ravens. All right, Houston and Kansas.
Just remind me of Lamar. Yeah, Lamar's.
Houston and Kansas City. These two teams played in Week 5. Kansas City were up 17-3 on them. Houston came back with the win. Kansas City's defense has stepped up since that game. They've been playing a whole lot better because that game in the second half, Deshaun Watson and the crew, they really did a number on that defense,
He's
including
quick on his feet and him throwing.
Yeah. And then when he gets on the move, it's the Kansas City struggles with that when the quarterback gets on the move. But that Week 5 game was a pretty good one. It literally came down to the wire. They couldn't get a stop. It was Houston went for it on 4th down to seal the game, and they succeeded. So it's like, ooh, this might be another close one.
Yeah, Mahomes is healthy, right?
Yep.
So he's not at his best when he's injured, obviously, but he still produces. But him being healthy, don't be surprised if he knocks four touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah, the only knock on Andy Reid is sometimes his coaching decisions during the playoffs. He gets a little too conservative, and he doesn't get as aggressive as he is during the regular season. But I think these guys, the Chiefs, they're just still – they still remember what happened to them last year at home. They had with the chance to go to the Super Bowl. They can't keep their hand on side. So.
And Houston has never passed the divisional round.
Nope. No. And I believe the last time they played Kansas City in the playoffs, the score was about 35-0 at one point in the game. So, yeah, Alex Smith was over there dicing them up. So it's going to be interesting. But I mean, Houston. If I've been saying Bill O'Brien isn't going to get them anywhere. If he can get them out of this round into the conference championship, give him an extension. If not, you're going to have to start looking elsewhere because they might have reached their ceiling with him as a head coach because there's short leashes with black head coaches, and this guy has got a long leash. We'll talk about coaches in a few minutes, but
yeah, we're going to have to see after this game to be honest with you.
Is everybody here picking Kansas City? Because I'm
definitely.
and with that said, we are picking Kansas City. All right, let's run through we're going to run through these NFL coaches hiring. So the Cowboys hired former Packers head coach Mike McCarthy. The team in Washington hired Ron Rivera. And the Panthers hired Baylor's coach Matt Rule. The Giants just hired former Patriots scout and special teams and I think defensive back coach or something, Joe Judge or Jacob, something Judge. His last name's Judge. That's all I know. And the only team that doesn't have a head coach right now is Cleveland. They got rid of Kitchens. But the Cowboys and McCarthy, I think that's a good pickup. He's a Super Bowl winning coach.
He coached for Packers for 13 years.
Yeah, I think he had 9 playoff appearances.
Only question I got, is Jerry Jones going to have his hand controlling him like a puppet, or is he going to give him free reign to the team?
Well, that's yet to be seen right now. Right now, Jerry Jones makes it seem like he will be, but I think, Jerry Jones is too used to.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just way
Puppet
too.
master, man.
Yeah, he's too used to that, and he's an adult.
Yeah.
This team needs discipline.
Right. And we said that earlier too.
Yeah.
We watched that.
this team, the Cowboys need discipline. So that's a good hire for them, and the guy with coaching experience. Washington, I think Ron Rivera was a good hire.
I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm happy.
So happy for Ron.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's just the whole management thing. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
And when he left the Panthers, he literally said to the media, "I will coach again." And look at him doing it. And the fact that if he could turn this team around and no one else can do that, and Ron stepped into those shoes and he does it, he puts his name.
And he has a young quarterback.
Right.
Young quarterback. Because he had Cam when he was young, and he developed him. So he got Dwayne Haskins, who showed promise. Maybe this team could go somewhere. It's just management. I'm just that whole culture with the management. But they got rid of their GM. So we'll see what happens there. But I got to see it first. I have faith in the coach. It's just the culture. Mm-hmm. And also, before we go into the no huddle, all these coaches, there's only 4 minority coaches in the NFL.
I'm not surprised.
And in this hiring cycle, none got interviews. All the minority coaches, assistants, coordinators, they didn't get interviews, but these guys are going to college coaches. They're giving these college coaches chances.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
It's a problem that we are having on that professional level, but also just on the college level. I mean, any level we see that there's not enough black coaches. When your team represents majority African Americans, and there's been statistics that you can learn better from having an African American coach to teach your players.
My thing is, some of these teams talking about going after guys like Lincoln Riley. Did we not just see what happened to Oklahoma in the college football playoffs? And you want to hire that guy?
I almost asked you, who's that?
Yeah.
I watched the Oklahoma game.
Exactly.
So apparently, he didn't cross my mind at all.
Yeah, there's teams that are looking for him. And there's a lot of capable African-American coaches. Jim Caldwell, for one. He's gone to a Super Bowl. He went to Detroit and got them to the playoffs 2 out of the 4 years that he's been to.
Right.
The culture in Detroit is horrible. For what he did, that should be a success. He's not even getting phone calls, not even meetings.
And one thing I noticed from being in the school system, when you walk in the classroom and the kids look like you get that respect right then and there, just because they know you might empathize with them because you understand where they come from. Just no different from a football coach. He understands where they come from. And once again, they've been seeing, quote unquote, white coaches their whole entire life. So when they see a brother that walks in, it's like, oh man, it gets their attention going just because it's something different, and he's probably able to relate a little better.
And also, there's only one person of color GM in the league. One. Out of 32 teams, there's only one. That's shameful. That's very shameful.
It is. But at least there's one.
I've been saying all year, like, that's why I have an issue with the NFL, how they treat their players, because you see how it's kind of ran.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in depth with that, but
it's not even the NFL. This is just, in any industry, there's a lot of certain industries it's like that, and it's.
But I only feel like there are other sports and industries that are kind of ahead of the game, and they're like light years behind.
Yeah, I think the NBA is probably the only one that's ahead of the game. That's ahead of the game and all that. Cause, sheesh, yeah, it's sad. Next thing you know, they're gonna start hiring high school football coaches before they hire African American coaches, coordinators in the NFL. I'm telling you, man.
Don't be surprised.
I wouldn't be. All right, we're going to go to Craig in the no huddle. He's going to give us his divisional round preview, and then we're going to go to Athlete's Corner, and then we're going to just go to a bunch of videos and wrap this thing up. All right, here's Craig with the no huddle.
What's up, everybody, and welcome once again to No Huddle here on After the Whistle. We've been gone for a few weeks due to the, holiday season. Happy New Year to all of you who I haven't seen in a while. With that being said, I'm here to give you my predictions for this week's playoff bracket. First and foremost, let's hit the college game. We got LSU going up against the reigning champs of Clemson. This looks to be an awesome matchup. Both teams 14-0. On paper, looking like, almost identical right down the line. It's going to be an exciting game. But at the end of the day, one of my favorite teams in the NFL in college is LSU. I like them Clemson boys. My boy Ace on the end zone. That's his team through and through. But for me, LSU, I think, is going to take over this game. They went ahead and they smashed Oklahoma, which is actually my favorite team in college. Oklahoma is the team I like the most. But at the end of the day, I think LSU pulls it off. They're not going to let Clemson go back to back. But I do think it's going to be an entertaining game, so make sure you tune into that. Now back to the NFL. I think I got some surprises on hand. What I'm about to drop is gonna make some heads turn. Let's start off with what I'd like to say is the least game. Not to take anything away, but I think the least game of this particular matchup is going to be the Seattle Seahawks versus the Green Bay Packers. And if you know me, then you know my favorite team is Green Bay. So I cannot go against Aaron Rodgers and them boys. I got to give it to him. Russell Wilson is a beast, and he's a playmaker, and they did a lot against this Eagles team. But I don't think they're going to get it done against Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers wants a ring, and he is going to do everything he can in his power to make that happen. Next on the list, I got Vikings going up against the 49ers. An offensive matchup, a defensive struggle. I think this game is going to come down to who has the ball last. And with Jimmy Garoppolo's inexperience, I believe that the Vikings, just like in New Orleans, will upset the 49ers and take this victory home. Next on the list, I got Texans and the Chiefs. This game is going to be awesome to watch. We already saw it earlier this year. It was an exciting game. I think it's going to be another exciting game. I think it's going to be an offensive back and forth. Neither team has that exceptional of a defense, so I think it's going to be an all-offensive game. D. Watt's coming off one of the most dramatic playoff games I've ever seen, and I just think it's going to be a fun game to watch, but I cannot go against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in this one particular game. I think they got this one on lock. I do think it's going to be entertaining, but I do not think it will come down to the wire. I think in the second half, Patrick Mahomes will lead the Chiefs and get that W. And then finally, Titans versus the Ravens. This is a matchup that I think is going to be better than people expect. I mean, Lamar Jackson has been absolutely phenomenal all season long. You love to watch him. And they've been trouncing teams. They've been just bashing teams down the barrel. But I got a surprise for you. Texans over Baltimore. I'm calling it right now. They beat the Patriots, and I'm not gonna front. The Patriots, they weren't all that this year. I'm a Patriots fan, so I'm always gonna show the love. But they weren't all that this year. We didn't have an offense. I think that the run game and the pass game of the Titans and Tannehill playing like a beast, it's gonna be too much for Baltimore. Those kids are young. They got plenty of time to win it. Tannehill's resurging, and I give it to him. So we'll see what happens. And until next week, this is No Huddle. I'm Craig. Check out Gym Bag Entertainment on YouTube. And until next week, have a good night.
All right, thanks, Craig, for those picks. I don't know what Craig was thinking with some of those picks, but whatever. Shout out to Craig. All right, we're going to go to Athletes Corner. Tyshawn Anderson, he's a sophomore at Anna Maria College, and he set some records over there his sophomore year. So Athletes Corner, we're going to come back, wrap this show up with some highlights or whatever. I don't know. All right, let's go to Athletes Corner. Hello and welcome to another edition of Athletes Corner. Today we got a special guest. We got Tyshawn Anderson, sophomore at Anna Maria College on the football team over there, man. He's on his winter break. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, just got back, hanging out with some family and taking some time off.
Yeah, how was sophomore year? How was the first half of sophomore year of college for you?
So far so good, had the football season, school, everything's just the normal from what it was freshman year, after football season, staying focused on school, getting through that, and it's just what it was.
Is it kind of like a routine now? Because, your first freshman year semester is just an adjustment the first couple months, and then once you get the hang of it, does the whole college process just become routine now for you?
Yeah, after freshman year, everything became a lot smoother. Like this year, my classes were all set up, so I had mainly all my classes in the morning, and then I had the rest of my day to myself. And after practice and stuff, then I'd eat, go to my room, or before practice, I'd hang out, chill.
Yeah.
But I had my classes set up to the point where I had morning classes and then maybe one afternoon class, and then that was my day.
So you smart. You did it the right way. I did the same thing with the morning classes. Get it out the way. It's like relax. Tell me about football season overall. How would you describe this football season for you guys, for your team?
Well, from the outside point of view, it's a lot different because to us we made a lot of progress. And my freshman year we were 1-9, and this year we went 2-8. But people look at it and go, they didn't really do much. But from where I'm standing now, it's more, well, our defense made a lot more turnovers this year. Our defense held a lot of teams to less scoring. We lost a lot of games by a field goal. We lost a game in overtime by a field goal. We lost a game by 1 touchdown, by 2 touchdowns. And we're still a young team. We're majority juniors and sophomores now. Last year we were freshmen and sophomores. But we still had young kids coming out that had to start. We had kids coming into a new program that they weren't used to, having to just get onto the field and adjust to the gameplay. But our season, it was a progressive season for us as a team. And
just because where you guys were last year and how you guys were, would you say the games were a little more? They weren't lopsided, would you say?
No, we had a couple games that were, but that's life. It happens, whatever. Like, we bit the bullet on that one, kept moving, moved on to the next one. But the biggest transition from last year to this year that I noticed was people not giving up when a team would score or when we'd be down. Yeah. Because the first game we won, we were down 20-6, and we scored both our touchdowns in the fourth quarter, made a fourth quarter stop to get the ball back to go on the game-winning drive. Yeah. And last year, if we were down 20-6 going into the fourth quarter, we weren't gonna go out and fight that and make that comeback. But we had a lot of kids who were ready to go out there and do what they had to do. So it was just something better to see.
Yeah, so it seems like you guys are just in the process of learning how to win games as a unit. As far as, maybe, as you said, after you guys played these games last year, you're down 20-6, maybe people are packing in. And now this year, it's more of guys want to go out there, compete, and actually win instead of just, let's lay it down.
That's basically exactly what it was. It was more, people were tired of people seeing us as a certain standard, and it was more, all right, well, we may not have won some games, but these are the teams that used to blow us out by 30, and now they beat us by 7, or they beat us by a field goal, and it's like, all right, well, it's clearly a different team who's making progress to become a better program.
And this is definitely going to help you guys next year when you guys see the progress you guys made offensively and defensively, that you guys can compete with some of the best teams. So it only goes up there. But yourself, you had a significant sophomore season as well. Broke some records and made some history over there.
Yeah. It was a fun year for me, I went out there, had fun. I did exactly what I used to do in high school, They just told me to go out there and just be me. And it was fun because, you know, I had my guys out there with me. I was working, I was doing things on and off the field to make sure I was getting better. And a lot of people who know me know I'm not a practice player. Like, during practice, I tend to, you know, sometimes I'll take 1 or 2 plays off, and I shouldn't, but, you know, it happens, and I don't get mad. Like, I get down on myself sometimes about it, like, maybe if I did this, I'd have had a better game. But, yeah, I broke the school single season record for tackles. I finished with 112, and then I was also the first person at the school to be nominated and put on the D3 team of the week. And so my school, like not my school, but like the athletic department, they acknowledged me for it, and I got a few shout outs. But during the season, it was like a great accomplishment, but then it was more like, now what's next in order to keep going, to make everything so I can help everyone else around me be better. And it was more, I just wanted to continue to keep playing.
And what's also shocked me, you told me when we was off camera that you only played 1 year of high school football. And that's kind of like, what? You know, if you told somebody that you only played 1 year of college football, and then you told them what you did, 1 year of high school football, and then you tell them what you did in college, they'd probably look at you like, you lying.
No, I mean, so most people don't know that I went to a charter school before I went to English, and so when I was there freshman year, they didn't have a football team. Sophomore year, they didn't have a football team, and so I made a deal with my mom. You know, I get my grades up, I could transfer, blah, blah, blah. So I did that. I transferred, and I didn't play junior year. And then senior year, I was like, all right, I have to play. Like, it's my last year, and this is it. So I did that. I played senior year. I kept my grades up. I got my GPA better than what it was. And I felt like I had a pretty good year. You know, I was a little rusty from not playing from previous years, but then, you know, as the year progressed, I started to get better. I started to move on forward, and that was my one and done. That was it.
What was the stretch? What was the gap between when you played your senior and the last time you played?
I had played freshman year, but it was Pop Warner because I was so young, and I had played then, and then after that, I didn't play until my senior year.
Okay, geez, did it take a little while for you to get the rust off, or was it just once the game started, it was just, you know, right back at it?
You know, camp, I wasn't like some of the other kids. Like, I didn't throw up when we were running because, you know, I still was active. I was doing flag football and all that stuff. But definitely adjusting to having pads on again. The first game was a little rusty. To this day, I regret the fact that I dropped the touchdown pass my opening debut in high school football. But, you know, it is what it is. Made up for it following games, had better games, and then just went on from there.
Yeah. And so, for your junior year, what are some things that some goals you're setting aside for yourself for the junior year, for yourself and also for the team?
You know, winning's always a goal, so that's like obvious. But for my team, I just want to have people continue to want more and to do better at all times. Like, the year we had this year doesn't seem like it was better, but it definitely was if you're in our shoes. And I'd want them to keep going forward with that. I'd want the team to always progress and do better because they're a fine organization. And the way I see it is, if we play the same way we did last year, it's only going to play better next year, especially if we move on forward with it and we stack onto what we had and make it better. But for me, myself, I just want to be a better overall player for the team. Like, I love special teams probably more than I love defense, and I'm a defensive player.
Yeah.
But a lot of kids don't understand that special teams is important.
Yeah.
And I want to be a better special teams player to help create more opportunities for my team. And then I also just want to be a better overall leader, being able to communicate with my team better. Like, I'm not saying I want to be captain, but I just
you might
I
get
just
it.
want to be able to help communicate with the team and do certain parts and help everybody know their job.
Hey, you might end up being captain from the way you're handling yourself and presenting yourself. But hey, man, thanks for coming. Lastly, social media, if you got any, just plug it in for the folks.
Instagram, Sancho _2 times, and Twitter is big_Sancho. That's it.
All right, that's it. Make sure you follow him. All right, guys, you guys been watching Athletes Corner, and we are out of here. All right, thanks Tyshawn Anderson for that one. All right, we're gonna go into some more videos. So we got. It's a new year, so we're doing NBA top 10s. So NBA top 10 segment, top 10 players from the NBA the past couple of days. So check that out. Then we're gonna go to NFL top 10, and then we're gonna be done here.
Shit.
This is DC. All right, we back. We back. NFL postseason top 10 coming at you in 5, 4, 3, 2. I got my headphones on the wrong list. Just another video coming at you. So I put together some high school highlights, some high school hoops highlights. This is from a couple games this week and also from the Christmas tournament. And yeah, and they got a game tonight. Lynn English girls got a game tonight against Revere.
Revere at 7.
Yeah, trying to make another, what is it? That'll be 3 wins in a row or a little streak going? Or?
Yeah, I think it's, you have 3 wins.
All right.
2 or 3. It'll be a 3rd win in a row. Yep, you're right.
5-1 right now, correct? Y'all reckon 5-1?
Correct, sir. Correct.
All right. And Lynn English boys put a beat down on Winthrop yesterday, 93-13. Lord have mercy. All right. Look at these high school hoops videos, and then we're gonna come back, wrap this show up with a little college football. So. And we are back. All right, before we get up out of here, the national championship is this Monday. LSU, Clemson, wild. They both played in the wild college college playoffs. You know, LSU, they just ran Oklahoma out the building. They ran them out. Joe Burrow, 7 touchdowns in the first half, putting up Madden numbers. And Clemson, you know, Trevor Lawrence, he just put the team on his back. And Ohio State, they're going to kick themselves in the foot because they had opportunities to make this game 24-0, and they kicked field goals when they got in the red zone, and they didn't seize the opportunity. And the game really changed on a hit to the head.
Right.
That was a questionable call. I hate that. I hate that rule in college sports. Players getting ejected for that. I really hate that. I mean, you could give them a flag, fine, or first warning, next one you out of here. But to just kick them out, it's like, who made this rule up? Like, I understand player safety, but some of them is incidental, and you're going to kick them
When
out.
a player drops, you're taught to hit a certain way, and you can't stop your momentum when they drop. So that's just incidental contact, if you ask me.
It was. To me, it was. And that player, an award should not have been ejected from that. But after that play, it really changed the momentum of the game.
But Clemson, though, you could tell they know how to win. You know they're champions because Ohio State looked like it might have been a better matchup for LSU the way they was laying the wood down on them guys. But, you know, championship caliber teams, they win in the second half.
And we got two quarterbacks. One is going to be the first pick in this year's NFL draft, and the other, he's going to be the first pick in next year's NFL draft if he comes out. And you said it earlier. You said it a couple of days ago that Trevor Lawrence set the bar so high for himself that, you know, the way he played this year, everybody's thinking he fell off, but it was just
so high.
The bar was so high.
Get back to
It was great.
And you could never achieve that again. It's like you accomplished everything that most players try to do in 3-4 years. So it was, but this matchup is gonna be a good matchup because there's NFL players on each side.
I totally agree.
And with that, we gotta go. Peace out. We done. We talked a lot. Everybody, wish her a happy birthday, but it's tomorrow. But say
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Follow her on Instagram. Tag her.